Her name is Helen Allen, and she writes a column for the Toronto Star called Today's Child. Through this column, Helen finds homes for difficult-to-adopt children. Now, Helen, when did you start this column?
The column was started in 1964, Bob, and it's sponsored by the Ontario government, which believes that every child is entitled to a family.
And how many children have you found homes and families for?
Well, I'm not very good at statistics, but it runs between 10 and 11,000, more than we've got here in the studio tonight.
Well, we'll settle for 10,500, won't we, folks? 10,500. In your introduction, I mentioned difficult-to-adopt children. What are difficult-to-adopt children, Helen?
Well, I personally think that there's a home somewhere for every child, but it does make it harder to find those homes if a child has a medical problem, or perhaps is retarded, or isn't a cute little baby any longer, or maybe there's nothing whatever the matter with the child, but attached to that child is 3 or 4 brothers and sisters, and they want to stay together.
Of course they want to stay together, and I think we can illustrate what a monumental task it is to keep a family of children together by introducing a young lady in our studio. This is Sheila Morrill. She could have been adopted quite easily many years ago, but she refused to be separated from her sister Debbie, who would not allow herself to be adopted without Cindy, who wanted to be with her brother Robert, who wouldn't leave his sister Sharon, who wouldn't leave Keith, who would not leave Adam. There they are, 7 children. Come up here and join us, brothers and sisters. Come up here and take the place right here. 7 youngsters. That's it. Just take your place right there on the step, because I'd like to have you meet the couple who became the proud parents of these young people by adopting all 7 of them. From Rapid City, South Dakota, Mr. and Mrs. Stan Morrill. Mrs. Morrill, welcome to Back of My Line. And it's a pleasure to have you with us. It is indeed. Now, Mrs. Morrill, adopting 7 children is a tremendous undertaking. How did it all begin?
Well, we were living in Canada, and we read in a newspaper Helen Allen's column on Today's Child and found out these children needed a family.
That's 10,501 for you now, Helen. And how did you make the decision to adopt 7 children, Mr. Morrill?
Well, my wife and I talked it over, and then we talked it over with the other 5 children.
With the other 5 children?
Yes, the other 5 children.
You had 5 children when you adopted 7 more? Now, where are these 5 children?
They're here.
Here in the audience.
Well, come on out of that audience. Get up here with your brothers and sisters on the steps there. Look at this. The original 5 plus 7, we have 12 children. You poor soul, someone told you they're cheaper by the dozen, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
But that's not true, is it? It
No,
can
it
be an expensive proposition.
It can be.
And I will wager that in order for you to adopt those 7 children, the original 5 had to make some sacrifices, did they not?
They have made many sacrifices, yes.
They probably had to give up some things.
They have.
And it has been worth it, because look at these 12 happy faces over here, ladies and gentlemen. And look at this happy and proud mother and father. And it's Helen here who brought them together and making people happy. That's Helen's bride.